Welcome to E4 Electric, your number one source for what's happening now in the world of electric cars. And there is a lot going on today. Not some good news, but we're going to talk about Model 3 first, because there is some good news about some interesting updates that it's getting this week. And then, of course, comment of the day is about BMW i8 story that I did yesterday. But before that, if this is your first time here, welcome to my channel. My name is Alex, and if you're interested in staying up to date with everything that's going on in the universe of electric cars, you came to the right place. Just go ahead and click on that subscribe button down there and a bell notification icon so you don't miss anything, and most importantly, become a part of this community. All right, so let's talk about the Model 3 updates. Now, a lot of us kind of didn't really know, weren't really paying attention, but people who are driving Model 3s right now, Tesla employees, are missing quite a few interesting features. And we're about what, 3 weeks away from common folk, the regular customers, finally getting this car. Tesla is still updating the software, and this week they're gonna add some of the features that were missing. Now, first one is a radio. Believe it or not, Model 3 right now does not have a radio, but this is something they're going to be getting with over-the-air update, which is one of the almost awesome things about Tesla. Your car can get better and add features as the time goes by. It gets better with time. The other one is a few other apps like an odometer, which was kind of also weird that it wasn't there. I didn't know it was a tough feature to cramp in there. I believe the energy app, where you can see how much energy you're getting, how much energy you're putting back with your regenerative braking. And there was another that I'm missing that kind of escapes my mind. Oh, the tire pressure. The tire pressure monitor, I mean, the monitors were always there, but the tire pressure information is going to be updated. So I'm assuming there will be more features that are coming up, just like with regular updates, but this was kind of something that really escaped our mind. Now, just like I said, we're only 3 weeks away from the first deliveries to real customers. I'm still a little bit concerned because I haven't gotten my configuration email. So that's a little bit weird. I thought I was like there in line in the morning, but that's okay. Let's see. Some people are popping in the chat from India. Welcome. Hesperia, California. That's where my girlfriend is right now. Visiting her family. All right, let's move on to a sadder story, guys, but this is going to affect all of us. And as you know, in the United States here, Senate last night passed a tax bill. Now, we already knew that the House version of this bill was going to take away the incentives, the $7,500 tax credit that we've all been getting on our Teslas and other electric cars here in the United States. But the Senate bill originally looked like they were going to keep it. Now, let me remind you that originally the $7,500 tax credit was passed by a Republican Congress during Barack Obama's presidency. So I wasn't really worried about it in the beginning of this year as Trump became president, because that was kind of their thing. Well, the Senate version looked like it was going to keep it, right? There was a couple of senators and they were insisting they were going to keep it. But guess what? Last night, they had a last-minute amendment and they ended up actually taking it out. And since the House bill already has it out and they have to reconcile between the two versions, I mean, it really looks pretty bad right now. Unless something happens, unless, you know, some last-minute change happens, it looks like it's going to be going away, which means the price of all electric cars in the United States will go up a lot. Now, we've talked about this before. This actually benefits Tesla. Yes, the next year, we will not be, by the way, it starts next year. If this passes January 1st, it's gone. Now, Tesla was going to lose this incentive anyway, sometime, starting sometime next year, because they've already sold so many cars, a lot of cars actually, and each manufacturer only has about 200,000, not about, exactly 200,000 cars that they can sell, and their customers get incentives for those cars. After that, it gets phased out every quarter until it's pretty much zero. So Tesla was very close to it, so they've already benefited the most out of this sort of pool of money that our government have provided as incentives for those who are buying electric cars. Now, the other companies, well, there's Nissan Leaf, there's Chevy Bolt, they're still ramping up their numbers and they're going to lose out. And of course, the companies that haven't done much in the space of electric cars are really going to miss out on pretty much the entire amount, which is a lot if you think about it. So it's sad, but at the same time, it's here. We had a good run as far as putting this, pushing the revolution out. It would definitely help. And now we just, I guess, the industry just got to walk on their own. And this is something we just have to accept. And I'll definitely keep you guys updated. Now, another news, just as bad, coming out of Germany. Now, if you don't know, Germany is home to a couple of small car manufacturers, and they obviously do not want Tesla in there. Now, they've in the past they tried passing this bill. Now, Germany has about what, 4,000 euros as an incentive to electric car buyers. Well, what they did, they set the limit at 60,000, I believe, American dollars. Yeah, where if your car is more than that, you just don't get an incentive. Now, I would say that kind of makes sense, especially talking about more socialist type of governments and communities in Europe, if there were more countries that were doing it. But Germany is the only car that kind of put that upper limit, and so really that everybody knew it was just to squeeze out Tesla, right? Because BMW, Mercedes, and other German manufacturers obviously don't want them in there. Well, Tesla decided that, all right, fine, I'll see you, but I'm going to... So Tesla just basically stripped out their Model S, like literally removed every single feature, and so it got below 60,000, and so they started selling them. But now, and this is weird because German government now says, forget it, we don't think you're allowing people to buy it, so since you're not allowing people to buy it, well, we're just going to kick you out of this incentive program. Tesla came back and said, what are you talking about? You can go to our website and you can go to teslamotors.de, that's a German domain name, and configure it. So I am actually kind of lost myself because I don't really understand the claim of the German government, except for BMW told us so, why this is happening to Tesla, really. So I'm sure this is going to be battled out for maybe in their court system. I don't really know how it works, but this is definitely some bad news coming out of this is upsetting. So America, now Germany, bad news for Tesla, but mainly for electric cars. Nigel in the chat room says, hi Alex, Northern Island calling. I am mad, but could they not have used Model S software structure? How can it take so long to write software for a car to do such basic stuff? Yeah, I have to say, I'm a little bit, I don't know, like for example, odometer, right? Why wasn't it there? I mean, though you can probably think about some maybe legal stuff because odometer is, it's not a software feature. It's something that has to be there. And I'm sure there are a lot of government regulations because, that keeps track of the mileage on your car. So if they were still clearing some of the regulation hurdles and that's why they couldn't include it in there, then I understand. Why the radio wasn't there? I don't know, man. I really, that blew my mind. So I really can't answer. So Baby Boomer in the chat room, welcome to the chat, says, will Tesla ever introduce make electric planes and ships? Well, there's actually, I think Rolls-Royce and another, I think another plane company just partnered up to start sort of investing into the technology for electric planes. There is no indication that Tesla is going to jump into electric planes kind of market, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they're shipping rockets. I know they're going to ship the Roadster into Mars. That's what Elon Musk told us. All right, let me cover one more news. Before that, let me just mention that, of course, this show and this channel is sponsored by Avanex, your destination for Tesla aftermarket accessories, which I also use personally. Thank you to them for sponsoring my channel. All right, let's talk about something that happened a few days ago. But as you know, in Australia, they were having some energy problems, not enough energy. They were having rolling blackouts. Elon Musk came in and said, you know what, let me solve your country's problem. We're going to install like the biggest battery farm there to store the energy from your wind farm. And we're going to help you out that. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to do it in 100 days or it's free, right? He just took a Pizza Hut kind of approach. And guess what? He delivered, one of those times when Elon Musk really needed to deliver on time, and he did. They installed it, and as a matter of fact, they just kind of turned it on for the first time when they needed it, and it worked perfectly fine. This is the largest battery installation ever. And well, I guess I didn't know this, that if the backup generator was, I guess, oil, gas, powder, whatever, it can take, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is from what I understand, it can take up to 30 minutes for people to actually, for the power to come back. Where with electric power, with electric batteries like this, it is almost not instant, but like within minutes. So I think this is one of the things that they've also said that was actually pretty cool. So yeah, Tesla is now in Australia with the largest installation of the battery. All right, guys, let's move on to my favorite part of the show, which is the comment from you guys. And thank you so much for all of the comments in the live chat, and of course afterwards when you're watching the replay in the comment section. I always love reading it before doing the show, and of course I feature comment of the day. This one comes from David McDonald. David, thank you so much for submitting your comment, and it's about the story about BMW i8 Roadster and Coupe that came out yesterday. They upgraded their electric range from 15 miles to all the way to 33 miles, and he comments, and there are quite a few comments like this. He just was the most interesting one, I have to say. David says, BMW, come on, that's pathetic. My e-bike will do more on one charge. And that is actually true. You know, e-bike will, you know, I think they go up to what, 50, 60 miles in range. So it's not a bad point that, you know, BMW, if a bicycle can go longer than your 150 or whatever, $200,000 car, you might want to actually rethink your strategy. And once again, you know, BMW, they've been dragging their feet in this technology. However, they do have an i3, the design that I really don't like. So it's kind of pathetic. So I agree, but I give them kudos for at least trying. I mean, a little bit. I know people saying they're not even trying, but they are doing something like more than Ford is doing. Let's look at it that way. Okay. All right, guys, let's talk about, all right, so let me go back to the chat and talk about the this Tesla versus Germany thing, which kind of looks like a soccer match. Jan in the chat says, but Alex, in Slovakia, you must have official dealership, not tax credit for Tesla. But I also saw another comment saying that, oh yeah, in Slovakia, we have same limit for $60,000 euros. Okay, I didn't know that, but most countries, I believe, don't. It does make sense technically that if you buy an expensive car, you really don't need any help, right? Because it's the incentive. So it kind of depends how you look at it. And I know, you know, in Europe, it's a little bit less capitalism. So that does make sense. But Germany is one of the few cars, and it does sound like, you know, they just don't want Tesla in there because their car makers are, you know, BMW and Mercedes-Benz and so forth. They don't really want it. YouTuber Mark in the chat says, when is the pickup coming? I don't know. They really announced it as a kind of a joke, and even if it does kind of make it to production, that's not a pickup truck that we can all drive. It's going to be humongous because it's built on the powertrain and on the frame of the semi-truck. Nate Fedor in the chat room says, Alex, what's your opinion on waiting to buy a Model 3 to wait for them to work out all the bugs and to see if Tesla would come out with a solid state battery? Okay, I wouldn't wait for the solid state battery simply because that's a long ways away. But as far as waiting for the Model 3, listen, it depends. I mean, I bought the very first, like my first Model 3 was one of the 3000 made in 2012. And, you know, I had a lot of issues, of course, as most first kind of, not generation, but first runs with when the model comes out for the first time. That happens, you know, and so this is up to you. I think that car is still going to be worth it. Yeah, you might go to the service center back and forth once in a while, but overall experience, I would say, is still worth it because it's still an amazing car. But yeah, you should expect some issues with it, but I would do it again, man, in a second. So I would say go for it. Just expect that you are guinea pig in this particular, you know, with this particular model, and take advantage of it because it's going to be an amazing car. Cottonwood Killer says, I'm not getting a Tesla if you don't get that $7,500 credit. I understand, man, and unfortunately that's going to happen. But again, you know, at some point we gotta walk, and that's part of life. I wonder if California and some other states will offer additional incentives as a sort of a counterpunch to the tax bill. They probably won't do it until the tax bill is actually passed. But you know, that's unfortunate. We're going to talk about more about it tomorrow. I'm going to go live once again tomorrow, as I do every day at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We're going to hang out for a while. We're going to review what happened this week, some news that might be coming out in the next 24 hours. We're going to hang out. I think I might have a pretty cool announcement just about my channel, so we'll talk about that. So yeah, guys, I mean, I'll definitely keep you updated on what's going on with this tax bill and what's going on with Tesla in general, if there's any developments are going to happen. So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it, guys. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, and remember to stay charged.